let's go to the third one, which is target met? And for this field, observe the logic. Return true if net salary, this salary is equal to target salary, otherwise false. So, what is the target salary? We have a field called target salary. Here it is. We have a field called target salary, and what is the calculation here? If net salary is equal to target salary, we have to compare the net salary and the target salary as well. So, let us try to do that. What is the logic for net salary? We have implemented the logic for net salary. We have to calculate base salary plus bonus and then subtract the deductions. So, I do not need to implement this logic again in the next field. I can simply copy paste the mapping expression here. How to do that? Here you have the copy option. Click on this, it will copy the entire mapping expression, and we need that in is target met field, right. So, I am going to drag it here to the mapping expression and I will paste my copied expression. So, I will simply click on this paste. That is it. We have the logic for net salary. Now, what we have to do now? We have to compare this net salary if it is equal to the target salary or not. So, where is the field target salary? Here it is. So, we need to consider this as well. So, I will drag it here. Now, we have target salary and this is our net salary. So, what is the logic again? Return true if net salary is equal to target salary. We have to compare the net salary and target salary. We have a standard function which compares two numbers, equals brackets numbers, right. So, take this and we have to, this is the net salary and here we have the target salary. Now, it will return true if those two values are equal, otherwise false. So, I am going to map it as it is to the target. That is it. So, let us continue with the next field. What is the next field? Return the non-negative value of performance score. So, we have to specify the non-negative value. How to remove the sign? We have in mathematics, we have an operator called as modulus, right. If you write modulus minus 3, what is the output? It will simply give 3, right. If you specify modulus 5, what is the value? It will return 5. So, this absolute function in message mapping will return the numeric value. It does not care about the sign, even if it is negative or positive, no, it will return the integer value. So, let us see. We have to map the performance score to absolute score, but we need to remove the sign, right. So, here we have a function called absolute. So, if you place your mouse, it says returns the absolute value of the argument. So, select this and we have only one input here. So, connect this and absolute. That is it. So, let us see the next field as well. Next field is return the square root of experience years. So, let us see, we have another function called square root which will return the square root of the input number. So, let us see, connect this, click here, square root. So, what is the square root? So, if I ask you what is the square root of the number 25, the answer is 5, right. So, what is the square root of 4? The answer is 2, right. So, it will give the square root of our input number, simple. Now, let us see the next one, return the square of overtime hours. So, we have to calculate the square of overtime hours. So, we can do that using the standard function square. We have to map the overtime hours to square overtime hours and we need to use the square function. So, it will simply calculate, if the input is 7, it will return 49. The square of 7 is 49, right. So, it will return 49. That's it. And what is the next function? Return -1 if performance score is negative, 0 if 0, 1 if positive. So, this function, the function name is sine, will return -1 if the input value is of negative number. It will return 0 if the input value is 0. It returns +1 or 1 if the input value is a positive number. So, let's use this function for our next field. What is the next field? Source sine. We need to map the performance score to score sine, and it should return the sign either -1, 0 or 1. So, these may look simple, but try to practice them so that you know what are the options available in our arithmetic functions, right. So, if you see the negated score as well, returns the negated value of performance score. So, let us see the function here. We have to map the performance score to negated score, and we have to use the function negative. So, it will return the negative of the input number. It will simply switch the sign. If you pass a positive value, it will give negative value. If you pass a negative value, it will give a positive value. Simple, right? And we have inverse operation as well, where we need to inverse the hourly rate. So, let us try to implement that as well. Hourly rate is mapped to inverse hours, and we need to use the inverse function. That's it. And what is the next one? Incentive score. And what is the logic? Return power base raised to the power of power exponent. So, we have to consider power base and power exponent fields, and see, map this and map this as well. So, what is the function we need to use? Power. It will simply calculate the number to the power. If the number is 2 and the power is 3, it will calculate 2 to the power of 3 and the value is 8, right. So, let us try to do that. Power base is the number and power exponent is the power, and connect this to incentive. Yes. And what is the next field? Is overtime lesser. So, and what is the logic? Returns true if the overtime hours is less than worked hours, otherwise false. So, we need to compare two numbers again. What is the function we have? The overtime hours, and we need to compare the worked hours as well. So, I will take the worked hours, hold it and drag it here. Now, we have both overtime and worked hours. How to compare them? We have lesser and greater functions, right. So, it will compare if the number, the first number is less than the second number or not. It returns true if it is less than second number. It returns false if it is not. Simple, right. So, I will take lesser like this as the first number and this as the second number. Let us connect this as well. Now, we have completed the mapping, and let us try to simulate this one and see if we are able to calculate the values or not. So, I will click on the simulate. We need to upload the sample XML file, right. This is the file. Let us click test. So, here you can see it calculated all the values according to our requirements. It returned either true or false for each target made. It returned the negative values. It returned the true or false for is overtime lesser or not. That is the idea, right. So, we can use these arithmetic functions when we want to execute calculations for our input output fields.